Greetings to all. Reading about success stories of animal rescue on the internet and social media overwhelms me with feelings of happiness and warmth. People who love animals are generally compassionate and kind, unlike those who do not. And anyone who is compassionate and kind has certainly helped an animal in their lifetime. And animals themselves certainly deserve a much better treatment than they are subjected to. Let us now talk about animals as portrayed by the poet Walt Whitman in his beautiful poem Animals. The poem Animals is a prescribed chapter in the book First Flight for Class 10 CBSE Board NCERT syllabus. Now, before proceeding to know about the poem, let's know about the poet Walt Whitman. Walt Whitman, born on 31st May 1892, is a major figure in early American poetry. Along with Emily Dickinson, he is considered as one of the architects of an uniquely American poetic voice. In an age when poetry was all rhymed and metrical, Whitman made a break from tradition and wrote a revolutionary new kind of poetry which was in free verse. He was a nonconformist in all respects, including his social life. The poem Animals is from his work Song of Myself from Leaves of Grass. In the poem, the poet Whitman tells us that he feels more comfortable with animals than with human beings. Let us read the poem and understand why. Animals by Walt Whitman. I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self contained. I stand and look at them long and long. They do not sweat and whine about their condition. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep of their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. Not one is dissatisfied, not one is demented with the mania of owning things. Not one kneels to another, nor to his kind that lived thousands of years ago. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. They show their relation to me and I accept them. They bring me tokens of myself. They evince them plainly in their possession. I wonder where they got those tokens. Did I pass that way huge times ago and negligently drop them? Thus, in the poem, we understand that the poet admires the animals for being calm, controlled, composed, and self satisfied, and contrast their qualities with those of human beings. He says that animals are free from all greed, ego, and servility and are more human than human beings. He would prefer to shun the world and live with animals. So, now let's read the poem stanza wise and understand the poem more. First stanza. I think I could turn and live with animals. They are so placid and self contained, and I stand and look at them long and long. The word placid means calm, undisturbed. The word self-contained means independent, self-reliant. In this stanza, the poet expresses his desire to turn away from human beings and live with animals because he feels animals are quiet, composed, and contented. The poet indirectly comments on the restlessness and dissatisfaction among human beings. He's so much impressed by the natural qualities of animals that he can go on admiring them for hours together and turn into an animal to live in their midst. Second stanza. They do not sweat and whine about their conditions. They do not lie awake in the dark and weep of their sins. They do not make me sick discussing their duty to God. Not one is dissatisfied, not one is demented with the mania of owning things. Here the word sweat means fret or fuss. The word whine means moan or cry. The word sins means wrongdoings. And the word demented means upset or distressed. In this stanza, the poet continues with his appreciation of animals in contrast to human beings. The animals, according to Walt Whitman, are satisfied about their lot and never crave for anything. As they are innocent, they do not spend sleepless nights because they do not commit crimes or sins, and therefore they do not have to repent their actions. Because animals have a clear conscience, they do not pray to God for forgiveness. All animals are contented and do not hanker after worldly possessions. The stanza, in fact, is a comment on the materialistic race among human beings to accumulate more and more. Third stanza. Not one kneels to another, nor to his kind, that lived thousands of years ago. Not one is respectable or unhappy over the whole earth. So they show their relations to me, and I accept them. They bring me tokens of myself. They evince them plainly in their possessions. The word kneels means to bow down. The word evince means to show or reveal. The word possession means ownership of something. And the word token, here it means qualities or virtues. In this stanza, Whitman says that he has never seen animals showing their devotion to their lot by bowing down before others. They never do so even for their ancestors. Not one considers themselves to be superior to the others, nor anyone is unhappy due to social oppression which is existent among human beings. Animals maintain and enjoy relationships of mutual respect and equality, which the poet greatly approves and appreciates. The poet also says that animals reveal in themselves some noble traits and virtues that once were possessions of human beings. The fourth stanza. I wonder where they got those tokens. Did I pass that way huge times ago and negligently drop them? The word negligently means carelessly. Here in this stanza, I not only stands for the poet but also for the human beings in general. The poet wonders how animals have come to acquire the virtues and qualities like modesty, contentment, innocence, selflessness that were exclusive possessions of human beings once upon a time. The poet remarks that man must have abandoned the admirable traits and values carelessly ages and ages ago, which animals acquired and preserved them. Hence, the poem Animals, Walt Whitman suggests that human beings, the crowning glory of God's creation, have shed their noble virtues and values and turned into uncivilized beasts, whereas animals exhibit qualities that human beings have lost in the process of civilization. The message that Walt Whitman conveys is that human beings must rediscover and imbibe the virtues they've lost. They must shed their false sense of respectability and refrain from practicing any kind of discrimination in the name of God and religion. They must also learn to control their cravings to accumulate more and more rare materialistic things. Like all poets, Walt Whitman too has used literary devices to give more meaning to his poem. Literary devices or poetic devices are tools that a poet can use to create rhythm, enhance the poem's meaning, or intensify a mood or feeling. To know about the literary devices used by the poet in this poem, please refer to the PDF file that has been attached with this video. On this note, I conclude my discussion. Looking forward to meet you in some time. Till then, happy learning. Keep smiling.